was proud to sign legislation providing our administration with the full authority to borrow essential funds to secure the core services we will rely upon as we reemerge, or emerge, I should say, from this pandemic. And again, I want to thank my partners in the legislature, Senate President Steve Sweeney and Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, and the members of each house for their support. This is obviously not a step that any of us ever wished to have to take. Our administration has worked incredibly hard over the past couple of years to point our state in an entirely new fiscal direction. We had record high surpluses, record low reliance on things like one-shot revenues, and we had made the first deposit in a decade into the rainy day fund. But today, it is pouring. This is a historically unprecedented fiscal crisis. We have produced a 3-month budget that cuts deeply into the programs that millions of residents rely upon, and will be producing a new fiscal year 2021 budget that does that and more. Yet the brutal reality we face is that cuts simply will not be enough given the storm that is raging around us. We simply can't cut our way out of this. Our successful recovery from this pandemic requires us to look and lean forward. We cannot be pushed backward. And absent this step, I have yet to hear one idea from its opponents as to how they would move us forward. What we don't need is a return to the old way of doing things. We need flexibility and creativity. We need to provide property tax relief for our seniors and middle-class families. We need to fund our schools. We need to provide services to the most vulnerable, our returning citizens, and our underserved communities. We need to make New Jersey the state where everyone, not just some, but everyone, can thrive. This is the position from which I stand. The coronavirus has laid bare the inequities in our society, and I will not stand by and see them made worse, or for countless new families to be caught in their traps. We must move forward responsibly and deliberately. We will, and we are. Next, today, I am signing an executive order to provide greater assurance that the federal coronavirus relief funds we are receiving will be spent expeditiously, properly, and transparently. I am creating within my office the Governor's Disaster Recovery Office, which will serve as the center point of contact and coordination for COVID-19 recovery programs funded through the CARES Act and other sources of federal funds. In essence, this new office will replace and assume the responsibilities of the Office of Recovery and Rebuilding established in the wake of Superstorm Sandy. The office will ensure that all funds are expended in compliance with federal rules and regulations, and that strategies and policies are aligned across all of our state's departments. I am further requiring the creation of a transparency website to track the office's progress, and independently of that website, I will require an annual report to be produced. Additionally, I am creating a COVID-19 compliance task force to review all COVID-related procurements above a certain dollar threshold, ensure internal controls, and provide compliance training to all agencies receiving COVID-19 funds. The task force will also establish an integrity oversight monitoring program with a pool of outside vendors to ensure agencies guard against fraud, waste, and abuse of any COVID-19 funds. Integrity monitors will submit quarterly reports to the Disaster Recovery Office, the Attorney General, the Comptroller, and both the Senate President and the Assembly Speaker, as well as post them online. Dan Kelly, Executive Director, there's Dan on the left, Executive Director of the Office of Recovery and Rebuilding, will now lead the Disaster Recovery Office. And I'm designating the guy on the right, Acting State Comptroller Kevin Walsh, to lead the Compliance Task Force. A very heavy Irish dose there, Pat, I think you would agree. We are fighting for every possible penny of COVID-19 relief, and every penny we receive and properly invest in our recovery is one that we don't have to borrow. We are putting in place the oversight we need for this moment to give the public greater confidence in our work and to ensure that our restart and recovery moves forward. Before I move on, I want to give a shout out to these two guys. South